So look at these alt-right publications that hated it. Vanity Fair, Wall Street Journal, New York Times,
New York Times.
Known alt-right pipelines. Yes.
I mean, ultimately,
yeah, it's not about. It's sometimes a bad movie. It's just a bad movie.
Yeah.
It's just a bad movie. There's nothing controversial about this in terms of the quality of the film. It's just a bad time at the movies. Period. Point blank. There's nothing more to say about it. You know, I think the bigger controversy that surrounds this is what is Disney, or what the bigger conversation is, what does Disney do now going forward with all of these, you know, remakes? Are they going to pull the plug? Is this the last one? I know we got Lilo and Stitch coming up, but is this the last one, or
no,
are they
they're
going to keep digging into the vault?
Pull the plug.
They're not going to pull the plug, man, because Lilo and Stitch is going to do $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason it'll do $1 billion is because it will follow the what everyone loved about the first movie, the original movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what movie is left? Princess and the Frog? They've done
actually.
Well, there's
they still have Princess and the Frog. They still have Tangled. They still have
Hercules
Moana. I mean, not Moana. Well, Moana is coming up too, as well as a Disney remake. They can do a live action Frozen. Right? They have, they still have.
Hey, and guess what? The Princess and the Frog, they can actually cast like black people, and it's not a DEI situation, right? Like, they can actually make a black movie. Right?
Zendaya.
Yeah.
But
I had a lot going against it to begin with, right? Like, people were against Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler insulted half of America. The leftists don't like Gal Gadot.
I dared them to do Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yes, I do actually dare them to do that.
Do it. Or
they cast someone who is a hunchback.
Bring it.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it.
Cowards.
I think Peter Dinklage will do it.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage, not hiring like real actors to play the dwarves. Everything that they pissed off Disney fans with Rachel Zegler, you know, saying how they're going to change the story. So why do real actual Disney fans want to go watch a whole retelling of Snow White when it's not going to be the original classic? Like, there was so much going against this movie to begin with that I think turned a lot of people off. That, and you know, movies in general aren't doing so well. Because streaming has like really ruined the movie going experience. Like, people are like, well, I'm not going to go see a mid movie and waste my money. I'll just wait for it to be on streaming. So that will, you know, tell people like, oh, I'll just wait for this movie to be on streaming and maybe watch it then. So Disney can celebrate and post on Twitter like, this is the #1 movie in the world, while their theaters are completely empty in Snow White showings. And they can be celebrating right now, but there's nothing going against Snow White. It's not competing really against anything at the moment. So I don't know if like Minecraft, the live action Minecraft, would be a competitor, simply because like that doesn't look like a good movie anyways, but neither did Snow White. But that is a big property as well. So maybe that can compete in the next couple of weeks. I don't see it competing, but we'll see.
The thing about Minecraft is that Minecraft is a big enough film, that a big enough property, that it probably might put some butts in seats.
Well, I got breaking news here. Breaking news from the Babylon Bee. Disney quietly cancels live action Pocahontas starring Dylan Mulvaney. So there we go.
Oh no!
That is.
Is that Fred the?
Steph, I loved your review. You because these songs in the snow, and also, by the way, watch everyone's review. Dante has a review. Badger, DA. Your review, Steph, really went into the lyrics or the song and the socialism message. I don't know if you want to. I wouldn't make you sing it. I would make Alan sing it, but because he likes to sing.
To woman.
I'm just saying. Those quotes were pretty on the nose about the not even low key socialist message. Do you have those quotes, or would you mind repeating?
Pull it up. So the soundtrack came out like a week before the movie came out, and I was listening to the soundtrack just to see like what this movie is going to be about, sort of like get my mind in the headspace of like what I'm going to go and see, and just prepare myself. But yeah, it says with a treasure trove of gems. This is the Good Things Grow. This is the song that they sing at the very beginning, where everybody lives in harmony, everybody shares everything. And the reason you know this is because they actually sing about it. They say, with a treasure trove of gems hidden just below the ground, a beautiful abundance we share. And then later on they say, where is it at? Oh, here it is. We lead with open hearts and we live with open doors, with love to protect and provide. And we always keep in mind that what's mine is always yours. May goodness be our one true guide. So like that's the song that they sing at the very beginning. That is this utopia that everyone is living in, where we have a king and a queen and their daughter leading this kingdom, and everybody shares everybody. Nobody has more or less than the next person.
They don't lock their doors.
It's
What is this, Canada?
Equity, pretty much.
Those lyrics are concerning, and it's like clearly they started out making one kind of movie, and then they realized, oh, people really want. Did it seem to any of you that the kiss? Sorry for the
kiss
spoiler.
was terrible, man.
But was not only terrible because I think the actor himself has said he is gender fluid.
Of course,
gender fluid.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, he seems like a theater kid. You know, on a scale of, John Cena to Dylan Mulvaney, he was more toward Dylan. But so it seemed very fake, but it seemed like they threw it in, and then the movie
threw it in.
That should be the climax of the movie.
Dude, he doesn't even kiss her on the lips; he kisses her on the chin.
By the way, in 1937. When people saw the movie, we think these fairy tales were widely known. They were not as widely known nearly, 80 plus years ago. People thought Snow White was dead. When people saw the original in theaters the first time, they thought Snow White had died.
Like the Disneyland ride, yes.
Yes, if you do the ride, yes. But I mean, it really affected audiences. Okay, we look on it as parts of the movie are quaint and dated, but that's the charm. That is the charm of this film.
I think we're not talking about
what happened with the kiss in the movie. Jonathan loves her. He kisses her. Snow White wakes up, and the first thing she does is talk about her dead dad. So
when I in my review, I said like she wakes up and it doesn't even seem like she's happy to be awake.
I know. Right. Yeah. In fact, by the end of the movie,
thanks for waking me up and reminding me that like my dad is dead.
Yeah, and by the end of the movie, she friend zones Jonathan. So
yes, yeah, that's where their romance ends. Is after he wakes her up, because after that, like that's when
romance
the real stuff happens. Her real love happens, and it's her love for her parents and her king, like, and wanting to gain back the power in her kingdom. Like that's her true motivation. This whole thing with Jonathan, it's completely tacked on because their relationship does like a 180, and it comes out of nowhere. Like you don't go on a journey with this couple and you understand why they're falling in love. They just fell in love, and I don't even think Snow White in the movie is convinced that she's falling in love herself with this guy, because she's just like, it might have a little to do with you. I don't know. Like the face she makes.
They
told us this.
They said he took an arrow for you. You should love him. Like it was like that kind of feel instead of actual romance and attraction and all of that. It wasn't a part of this story. And they
tacked it on at the end after we criticized.
It was never a part of the story, and you can feel it. The audience could feel it. Everybody could tell. Everything felt it stitched together. Like there's 4 or 5 different ideas everybody's got. Let's try to make this into a movie instead of actually telling one coherent story from beginning to end.
Okay, you know what though? I could handle all that. Like I could handle the fake love story and all that other BS. If she did become like this powerful leader who killed the queen, right? But basically, she basically kills the queen with friendship, right? She solves the problems with friendship. She remembers everybody's name, and therefore the queen is no longer the queen.
No, Dante, she solves the power with the power of woke. She literally wakes everybody up.
By remembering their names, by doing the bare minimum in this movie, and remembering these people's names.
Yeah.
Chad, you were a farmer.
Yeah. That's how she beat the queen.
All the queen had to do,
you were a baker, and
all the queen had to do was be nice. If being the most virtuous is being virtuous, if that's what Snow White and the fairest in the land is being virtuous, then all the queen had to do is be nice, and she would have been the fairest.
Well, I mean, the movie it's I don't know what the opposite of timeless is, but I do know when a movie feels dated. I guarantee in just a few years, this version of Snow White will feel more dated than the original because it's so rooted in today's politics.
Yeah.
It leaned in, and that's what makes it just so. And by the way, it is to no one's surprise, it is rotten, but the audience score surprises me. 74% audience score, 43% from all the racist critics.
Yeah, if you look at the all audience, that's just the verified ratings. If you click on that and look at the all audience, it's a much different story. If you go to every go backwards and click on the total. Click on the actual bucket of popcorn.
Yeah.
Like now go to all audience.
Oh wow, 22% all audience. Verified is 74%. And then all critics 43. 30% top critics.
Somebody's lying.
Yeah, that's crazy. But
verified ratings.
But like, will Disney learn lessons?
No, of course not. Well, here's the thing. I think they will in the way of they're going to be a little bit more clever, maybe in how they hide their virtue signaling. Maybe. I will say this though, man. I think overall, right? Even if you took Rachel Zegler and her shenanigans out of all this, the movie is probably still going to bomb either way. But
Peter Dinklage said stuff, and there was other things.
And even if you took that out the way, the chances of a Snow White movie doing well are pretty slim. You know, like I was talking with Tom from Midnight's Edge, and we were talking about like how most kids today, or the ones that are adults, that Disney adults today, most of them relate to like the current Disney princesses, like Ariel, like Belle, like, you know, the chick from Frozen, right? So if you were going to make a live action based on those characters, they're probably going to automatically do better than Cinderella, Snow White, and like some of the older Disney princesses, right? Just because most people just today aren't into those. So you are already risking a lot just by doing this movie. But on top of that, you know, you tack on $300 million for the budget.
But it's not just that, Dante. They stripped this movie of, in my opinion, the most important part. If you go back and watch that original Snow White, the most important characters in that were the dwarves. And they absolutely destroyed the dwarves in this to the point where you don't even really recognize any of them. You know,
I can tell them apart.
They don't matter. They don't matter.
They don't matter. They're literally just in there. They didn't even call it Snow White. And like Chris was saying, they didn't even call it the Seven Dwarves. It was just Snow White, not Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, because the Seven Dwarves, they all had different personalities. Dopey was different than Doc. Doc was different than Grumpy. Grumpy was different than Happy. And that all comes out. If you go back and watch that original movie, the dwarves were the fun. The dwarves were absolutely great when they're doing their thing. They're a lot of fun. And you can see like kids gravitating towards that if they did them the correct way. But what they decided to do is just make this about Snow White. Snow White's kind of like a secondary character when the dwarves show up. It's all about the dwarves, and Snow White's just kind of there hanging out with them. If you made this more about the dwarves and you cast it appropriately with seven actual actors and not CGI slop, I think this comes off a lot better to a lot of people. I think the dwarves would have been more interesting. I think the character development that you had in each dwarf would have been better. They swapped out Dopey for Doc, or excuse me, Dopey for Grumpy. It's terrible. What they did to the dwarves is terrible, and that's one of the main reasons I think people just stayed away from this, because it doesn't feel like the original did.
Here's the thing about Disney, though. Last year, there were only $3 billion movies. And all three of them came out of Disney. Whether did they get it right? You know, does it matter? I mean, they have a tracker. This particular movie was started long ago. It began. It was almost done before the strike. You know,
are we really giving them credit for
one
like
of these movies that was done by an old regime, and we'll see what happens this year when Lilo and Stitch comes out. When Fantastic.
Same with Ironheart, like holdovers, right, from this past regime. Yeah.
So
that they couldn't cancel.
But again, the last year, $3 billion movies, and Disney had all three of them.